Half of the guys here are from NIC, so they're ready to have a kickoff party in about 2 hours. So, I know, how about the other guys? Are you doing all right? Yeah. Only water over there? No? I know you. Yes, I have the magical last session of the day. That's why it's so crowded here. Here we got someone coming here. Cool. Well, as most anyone here who is not from Norway? Yeah, we got 4 or 5. Cool. You know that Friday is the national day for tacos in Norway. So everybody runs home at 3 o'clock and they drop by the store and they buy taco for 50% off. That's what Norwegians do every day. So that's why there ain't that many Norwegians here. You're Sweden, yeah. Okay, you don't afford tacos then. I have this session where I'm going to talk about, I call it System Center Business Intelligence, a game changer. Well, it could be a game changer if you do it right. It could actually have a huge impact on how you deliver your System Center environment, how you look at your System Center environment, and especially how you can do intelligence with your System Center environment. So the System Center suite is quite large, many products, and I'm going to dive into what's called PowerBI, and we're going to look at how PowerBI can help you actually get visualizations of your data to you can use that you can use to business analysts, to normal users, to your to the whole perspective of IT people and people working in your organization. This is the last session, so we're going to focus on demonstrations. I'm going to have a few slides, and then we're going to take a look at the demonstrations. When we're talking about Power BI, we're talking about business intelligence, and business intelligence is actually having your source data, you do something with them, and you get it analyzed, and you get it presented in a certain way. There's been business intelligence tools for many years. Many of them are really good. Many of them are really expensive. So they're it's cool from an IT geek perspective like I have to look at business intelligence with something that I can use, something I can create. I can create something of the data I have. So I'm introducing Power BI. Anyone who has looked at Power BI before? Yeah? Cool. Anyone who has heard about Power BI? Yeah, there's many people from Korea who heard about Power BI. I wonder why. Oh, that's me doing that. Yeah, Power BI actually it's a cloud-based service. It was released in February 2014, and it's integrated with Office 365 and SharePoint Online. But maybe that some of you have heard that there are changes in working with Power BI, and there is about 2 months ago they changed their roadmap on how they're going to use Power BI, and we're going to, if you have time, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Power BI is basically connecting to your storage or to your storage data, and do an analyst from an analyst perspective, do manipulation with the data and presenting them in a way that you can actually work with the data and visualize your data. Some key points here is like share with SharePoint Online. You can share the information. You can set different roles that can access the different visualizations. You have dynamical refresh of data on schedule, so you can have a data management gateway that you can synchronize the data with. And you have visualizations in Silverlight, but you can switch over to HTML5 if you like. And by using HTML version 5, you can almost view it on every device that you have that can view HTML5. So what is Power BI? I like to think about Power BI as a suite of tools, because it is. It's massive when you look at it together. What we have, we are focusing on our System Center environment and how we can use that data as well. So what we have configured first is that we need to access the source, and we're using a data gateway server. This is the server that will actually go into our SQL cluster or SQL databases and drag out the information that we want. And by doing that, we have the possibility to actually do something with the data. And there's a brilliant tool out there. I love it. It's called Power Query. Anyone use that Power Query? Yeah, it's cool tool. Yeah, you can by using Power Query with your System Center environment, you basically connect to SQL databases. But as you can see later on, we can connect to almost anything in this new Power Query version with the different connectors that are there. It's really cool. And we have the Power Pivot, we have Power View, and we have Power Map to do the actual visualization of the data, and we can share them on SharePoint Online. And the special Power BI add-on that's added to SharePoint, let's call that the SharePoint Online. And we have the mobility to actually use Windows applications and phone applications to actually see the data and get the data out to the users. But as I said, something is happening over there, and they are currently working on a Power BI API. That actually means that you can connect from your data sources straight out to the new dashboard solution from Power BI. And you have a new Power BI designer that actually has all the features of Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View in it, and it's all tool, and it's free. And you have the new dashboard solution. We're gonna take a look at that later on, but that's in preview and it's only available in the US at the moment. So I think that's that actually sucks because you get a lot of blog posts these days with a lot of information. You should check out the dashboards, and when you try to log on and create your own tenant site, you actually won't be able because it's only in the US. But there is a way around it, and I'm gonna show you. So let's focus on our System Center data. Like the different products we have in System Center, they are different usage. Like you have Operation Manager and you have Service Manager that has a configurational database, and it also have a historical database that always that's called the data warehouse. And the different products have different ways of structuring their data. Like we see for Orchestrator, Orchestrator only contains configuration items, and then you flush it. It's not meant to have a large history of data in an Orchestrator database. But like in an Operation Manager, you can have history for way back regarding the different servers, applications, and stuff like that. So you have a large CMDB of your configurations. So the clue with working with Power BI and working with System Center data is that you need to figure out where the information is. Many of you have probably worked with the SQL queries. We actually, I want that table, I want that table, I want collaborate together in this view, so you get the information back. And that's quite the same when we're working with Power Query as well, but we do it in a more graphically way, that we can find the different tables that we want and merge them together and merge the queries together. Now, as most of you have probably seen, this is the way our data is stored in the CMDB. We got lots of different tables. We got lots of different rows. Not rows, but rows. And when we look at the different information, we can see that we have the computer name in that table, and there's a reference from that computer name to another reference table. And when you have done that 2-3 times, you're like, okay, where is the information? It's gone. You lose it. It's quite complicated. But then we are so lucky to have Google, or Bing for those of you who are into that, where you can Google and see, hey, how is the schema on Configuration Manager? And you can get a lot of information on on TechNet and on other people who have blogged about the schema for Configuration Manager, and so on for Orchestrator, and so on for Service Manager, and then it goes on. So you know then, okay, this is how my data is structured. Like this SQL query, what it actually does is that it brings you the best from, it brings you the rows that you want and from that table, and the rows that you have from the other table, and you combine it together to create a view that you want to view your data. And the same thing is that we're going to do with Power BI. And the information that we have in the different databases is almost the same in every one of them. They have relations to the different databases. Some of them are more complex than others, like Operation Manager and Service Manager, who have their own table that contains the relation for the other tables. And when you look at the schemas from the different System Center products, you can see that a lot of the relations between the tables are quite complex. So, knowing that, we are going to attack this with Power BI. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have a demonstration of it. what I have my System Center SQL environment, and I'm going to publish the data management gateway, and we're going to use an OData feed that's from the OData protocol. It's actually sharing. It's a protocol for actually sharing your information over a REST-based service, and you can access with the HTTP. So we're going to sync some information up to Office 365. Then we're going to download the data with Power Query, and then we're going to do some manipulation of the data, remove all the rows and columns that we don't want, and just have the exact data that we want to use. And then we're going to do some visualization with the data. We're going to use Power Map. We're going to take a look at Power Pivot. So Power Pivot two times. It's supposed to be Power View. And then we're going to share some queries. Like we're in a large company. We're sharing the queries with others so they can create actual visualizations. And then we're going to upload this to SharePoint Online. And then we're going to set permissions on the different workbooks that we create, and then we're going to take a look at how it looks when we are on different devices. So I'm going to start now then. We're going to start with logging on. The first thing you need to, when you start using PowerBI, is that you create your own tenant, and you get a 30-day free trial that you can extend actually with adding a credit card, so you can extend it for I have extended it for 60 days before I bought it to actually test the product. So here I am logged on to my Power BI site in Office 365 that most of you have seen before. So now I have I actually set the default site when I log in to my favorites Power BI my favorite Power BI workbooks that will front me in when I log on. So what I'm going to go into Power BI Administration Center. This is where I connect the data source to the gateway server that I have on premise. So when I log in now, I can see I have my server here, and I'm going to go to data sources, and you see here that I already created some data sources for the different System Center products as well. But what we're going to do now, we're going to take and add Orchestrator. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new SQL server, and this is significant in what I'm going to do later on. I'm going to make it searchable in Power Query, and I'm going to enable it so you can use OData feed. That means I can be in my Excel using Power Query on my Excel computer, and I can connect to my feed in the cloud. So I'm enabling that, and I'm clicking next. I'm going to add a name, Orchestrator, and I'm selecting a gateway that will access the data. The gateway needs to have the SQL native client installed so it can actually connect to the SQL server and get the data out of it. And I'm using version 11 here, and I'm using SQL 01, and I'm going to connect to Orchestrator. So what's doing now, it's want to set my credentials for the site. Normally you would use a service account to do this, but I'm using my account, so I'm sure this is working, because this is a demonstration, right? And what you have the opportunity to use here, you can use encryption of the connection, because when you're synchronizing your data from your storage onto the Office 365 and you're using OData protocol, then you can encrypt the data. Many people are worried about how their data is handled when it's up there. So you can then create an encryption between the gateway and the actual Office 365 solution there. I'm not going to do that now, and I'm selecting the privacy level. This is depending on how the data that you publish going to be available for the organization in the site. It's going to be private, it's going to be organizational, or it's going to be public. So I'm putting it to private. I'm testing the connection, if successful. So what's happening now is that we can go on and we can select what information we would like to bring out. And what you're going to see now is that something is very familiar, is that we look like logging onto SQL, and we get a list of all the different tables that are available. So if the more information information you add to the OData feed, the longer it takes actually for the gateway to actually synchronize those data. That's one of the downsides I've seen, that like it takes a lot of time when you're actually doing have a lot of information. And we're not gonna use tables. We are gonna take a look at the views, and we're gonna, for this demonstration, we're gonna take the job view, and we're gonna take the runbooks, and I have the runbook server as well. So, and here I can also add other users that are in the Office 365 can access the same resources as I am. But it's only me at the moment. So what's happening now is creating the data source, and while it's creating it, I can open up my dear beloved Excel. And Power Query is an add-on to Excel, so you don't, it's not there by default. You have to add it as a COM object. Here you can see it here. And what's happening now, here we can see that our orchestrator connection is there, perfect. And when I click on this now, I can see that, well, first of all, I can test the connection to see that it's online. And we can do that, and we can connect to the orchestrator, not to the OData feed. We're going to test the connection, see that everything is running. Since it's a demonstration, I know everything is working, right? In demos, everything works. So, and I'm copying the OData feed URL here, and I'm going to go up to Power Query, and just look at this. Look at Power Query. You think a Power Query can like connect to SQL servers only and stuff like that, but it's quite amazing the different connectors that actually has been added. You can have the standard databases, but now we can also have Azure connections. We can just select what we want from Azure, like HD Insight, which is really excited. You can actually connect to the HD Insight and actually get data from there as well. We can connect here to SharePoint, Active Directory, Exchange, Facebook. You can do virtualizations and create a lot of cool stuff with this integration. But we are going to focus on the OData feed actually to enable the data. So what I'm doing now, it gives us the opportunity to add the new data feed. And this is always the exciting part. How long time is it gonna take? Oh, it's looking pretty fast. So what it's doing now, it's my Power Query is connecting to the OData feed on my tenant site, but it doesn't receive the actual tables. What it actually is, it's creating references to my gateway server. So I'm receiving all the information from my gateway server. So it's not downloading everything from the Office 365 site. It's just telling me this is where the information is. So what we're doing now, we are selecting the three tables that I have, and I'm going to do this. I'm not going to insert this data into Excel. I'm going to do some modeling with it. So I'm adding it to what's called the data model, which actually downloaded on the computer and store in the memory, so we can do modulations with it. It's quite cool stuff. Quite almost the same like the Power Pivot model, and it actually loads it into Power Pivot so we can look at it. So I'm clicking load now, and what's doing now, it's downloading all the information, as you can see here. And what Power Query also tries to do is if it finds relationships, if there is a relationship that it can find between the tables, it would actually try to create a relationship by its own, instead that we will actually tell, well, this table connects to this table as well. So it tries to find that information. So now we can see that, well, it's starting to download our data. Hopefully it won't take that long time. Yeah, here we go. So now soon we would see that it would try to create relationship. It would actually come up, yeah, creating relationships. There isn't any relationship here. I have to create them by myself, but you can see that it's trying. It can find the actual information. So here we go. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to open up what's called the Power Query editor. And what we're doing now, we're looking at a table. And here is a lot of information that we don't want, right? But the Power Query editor has a lot of features that can actually do graphical manipulation of your data. Like what we are going to do here is that we're going to take the runbook ID and we're going to see the status that we want. We want to create it by. And nope, we don't want to create it by. We want the creation time. That's the only thing that I want. All the other for me is like rubbish now. Remove the other columns. And what you can see on the right side here now is that it actually added a new step. This is a recorder. So you can go back if you're, okay, this I did something wrong, shouldn't remove that column. And you can actually go back a step and you can do the changes. Like if I open up this the remove the other columns activity now, we can see that, oh, I can do changes on it if I want to add others as well. It's quite cool. So, well, the runbook ID, I don't want that. I want the name of the runbook. So I'm going to merge this query with something else. So I'm taking the runbook ID and I'm opening up the table with the runbooks and I'm substituting the ID with the name. And what it's doing now is doing an evaluation of the actual matching of the rows. So we can see we have a perfect match. So it's offering me quite new ways of looking at the runbook ID. So I'm going to remove everything and I'm going to select name only. I want the name of the runbook. There we have the name. I don't need that anymore then. Remove columns. And when I look at the creation time, I see, okay, can I do something about that? I want to split it up. Yeah, so I'm splitting the creation time up, and I can see that, well, I can use a space on this actually. So I get the date on the left side and I get the actual time on the right. So I'm splitting this up. So there we go, cool. And I'm creating this like date, year, and I'm calling this, call this time. Cool. What you also can do is Power Query has its own Power Query language that you can use. That you can create like scripting, quite the same. We can do like advanced formulas and stuff like that. So I'm going to load this data into the data model. So what it's doing now is like every time it's gathering source information from our SQL databases, it's kind of filter. It's filtering out everything that it needs from the tables, and it actually can go back to SQL and say, hey, this view that I got, you need to optimize it, so I can get less information, that it's not using that much space. So now it's synchronizing and it's going to the data model, and what we have now is we have something that we can work with. So I'm going to click on Insert, and I'm going to open up PowerView. Anyone who's worked with PowerView? Cool. Then things is starting to get really sexy, actually. What we have done up to now is like actually getting the information, but now the sexy stuff can happen. So this is quite small information what we have now, but let me see. So we have time, we have status, we have date, we have year. So what we can do quite some magical things with this now. So we're going to open up name. It was the runbook name. We got the name, and we're going to duplicate that one, and we're going to do a count on it. Oh, so here we now are seeing the different runbooks and how many jobs Orchestrator had started the different runbooks as well. Nice. And I think if you do like, if you open up the date year as well, we can actually get some information on how how it actually looks when it comes to the jobs. We can see when did most of the jobs become available. So we can see here like, something happened right before NIC. So there's a lot of information that suddenly got entered into Orchestrator in the last 2 weeks now. So I wonder why. But let's say, okay, I have done this now, and I want to save this. Now I can create. I now created a workbook, and I'm going to upload it to SharePoint Online, so we can become available for everyone else. So what I'm doing now is I'm connecting to SharePoint Online through Excel here, and I have my library, and I want to call it Orchestrator jobs. So now this workbook has been uploaded. So it's now for me as an Power BI administrator, I can just enable it so everyone else can use this workbook for their own good actually. So what we're going to do, we're going to connect to the site where I have uploaded this, and I have my own site here, and we can see that yes, I have uploaded the workbook here, and I'm going to go into Power BI segment of SharePoint Online, and I'm going to enable it so everyone else can use it. So here we can see, yeah, we're going to enable it, so then it will be enabled here. Should be pretty fast. I'm closing this now. Now it's enabled for everyone who in SharePoint Online have access to actually get information out of that. And I can actually favorite this to my own to my front page when I log on to Office 365, so I'm always updated with the new information and stuff like that. So let's take a look at some of the more interesting stuff that we can do with Power BI against the other products. And I'm going to take a look at the incidents in Service Manager. We're going to take a little bit of analyzing the data we have there and the opportunities that we can actually have with working with the product. So what it's doing now, we are opening this workbook up in Excel in Office 365. We're going to take a look what of the some of the things we can see here. So what you're seeing here is like I have an overview here of all the incidents in Service Manager. We have all the resolved, we have all the active. Like if I click on the active now, I can see, whoa, the information changes on the different with the different views. I can see now all the active incidents. 9 of them come from the console. We have 2 that's not applicable. I don't know why. And we 1 from phone, and we have 7 from the portal. Cool. But if I click on support group, can I get some more information there? Yeah, we can see that, yeah, the support group IT operations have resolved 13 incidents, and they have 15 active. And you can get more information on the urgency of the incidents as well. So by clicking the different views here, it's the other tables here are dynamic because they have the information in the same row as well. So here we can see that we have the filter tab on the right here. If you want to like, okay, we want to see everything that's from the console, then it's only focusing on the console. Everything is from the console, and all the support groups that are dependent on that as well. Moving on, we can go on to see some information from support groups as well. We can see here that, yeah, we have 3 different support groups here, and you can see the different classifications. Like when an incident enters Service Manager, like it's the problem with networking, a problem with software, printer as well, and different stuff like that. We can get information, and we can click and see how the actual the different views are showing to us. So I have incidents that are registered, and this is quite cool actually. And we can do some advanced tracking of the incidents as well. Like here in the above line we have here, we can see that there was a lot of incidents that's what created on September 2014. And what I can do also, I can go into Configuration Manager as well and look at, well, software deployment, software update deployment, and see that if there's a relationship between the number of incidents that was registered in September and the actual software update as well, so we can actually get information on that. And here I have another line here that says when the incidents are created during the month. So it actually, this is the average. This is actually when the different incidents are created during the month. So we can see that it starts in the beginning of the month. It's quite low, and it's has a huge impact during the 9 and 10s here. So it goes down and goes up again. And we can also see the different incidents when the time they are created. So we can see that there's a lot of incidents are created in the morning, and there's some incidents are created at the night. This doesn't mean that the incidents are created by a person, but it could be operation manager that are feeding service manager with information as well. And another view I have here is who has created the incidents as well. So by using the created by table, we can actually get a lot of information about who has created the most incidents and what are they creating it for, what kind of classification. So here we have the different users. We can see like the different areas the user have created incidents. This is from our demo environment, so it doesn't have a lot of incidents that are actually real, but it gives us some good information here. You can see that this user has a lot of enterprise applications added that he registers, and how many of the users' incidents has been resolved and are active as well. But one of the things that's really cool is that I can go in and check, well, how far has it been from the incident was created to the actually was resolved. So what I can do here, and this is pretty cool. Again, this is our demo environment, so the numbers are a bit off. But here we can see that this support group uses the average of, drum roll, 87 days to solve incidents. In this demo environment, and in this demo environment, it's quite high actually. 87 days is too much. But here we can see that they have they are using 87 days, and we got the service desk. They are having another number. So by using this information, we can actually create dynamic views of the status of our business. It's quite cool, and we can also click on like see printing. Here we can see how many cases the different teams has on printing, and it takes 194 days to actually solve a printer problem. So it's pretty cool. And we can also see resolved by user. We can have another view here. We can see that this users has solved quite a lot of the incident has been registered, but he is lying on 122 days. And if you click on the other users, it will actually move dynamically as well. So it's quite cool to actually have this on my phone or my dashboard, when you can actually click on and see how the different teams are doing with their incidents. It gives you a good intelligence way of looking at it and how the data is performed in your business. You can imagine if you have a lot of incidents over a month, a year, you can actually do a lot of analysis with the data as well. So you can view this in, you can view the information that you have in SharePoint Online, but there's always also a lot of apps as well. And you can use for example, we can take a look at how it looks on the Windows application as well. Here we have I have some intelligence on Configuration Manager as well. Let's take a look at how that looks in the application for Windows. So we can actually install this application on the computers, and people can view the information from their computer as well. So let's take a look at how that actually is. Oh, while it's loading, I forgot to mention that one thing that's pretty cool. Like if I open up this, is that when I'm viewing from SharePoint Online, it's in Silverlight. But then I have this little tab over here that gives me the opportunity to change this to HTML5, and then we can get the same dynamic and analyzing with HTML5, so we can get this to work on every devices that you have. So it's pretty cool. So if I open this up on my phone now, I can get the same results, because there are a lot of devices that actually don't like, many people that don't like Silverlight as well. So you have this opportunity there. So we can open up the application again, and we can take a look at what we can do with some of the things we can do with Configuration Manager. Configuration Manager has a lot of information on it, and Configuration Manager is a perfect storage for using business intelligence. And I'm going to show you how now. Like what I have here is that I have used the asset intelligence in Configuration Manager to look at all the computers I have in my environment, and I'm checking how many computers have the different software installed. And then I'm linking this up to a database that have the different prices for the applications as well. So when there is new installations of for instance the Saracen Asset app, when there are new installations, the dashboard will change, and we can also see that the price will change as well. So for someone who is actually on the holding the money bag, they can actually see the different views on the price versus number of installations as well. So if we let me see here now. Wasn't really good response in this. We give it till about 10 seconds, right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's your experience with large amounts of data?
Well,
Especially in PowerBI and SharePoint.
well, my experience with a lot of amount of data in Power BI and SharePoint is that it sometimes get really slow.
That's my experience.
That's your experience as well, yeah. And there are a lot of people who actually have seen that, and they got many complaints on that, and that's why they're changing their model with the new Power BI side as well, and how they're actually structuring the data. So in the new preview, there will be a dashboard available that's not connected in Office 365 site, that you go directly to the Power BI side. So SharePoint Online, adding the Power BI, and you have the data management gateway, and you have a lot of information, it can sometimes be slow. I'm going to be honest about that. Hopefully there will be some changes on that. So hopefully we can see the information now. Okay, we don't have any information on my local app. Sorry about this. So what we're going to do then is we're going to open up the Configuration Manager view in SharePoint Online instead. Sorry. We're just going to wait a few seconds now. Hopefully it will open up. Then we're going to open the Configuration Manager view here. We're going to open this up in SharePoint Online instead, because didn't see the application had synced the information back. So Configuration Manager has a lot of views, a lot of tables, and you need to know where the information is, and you need to create relationships between the tables, and then you can do a lot of cool stuff. So is it Friday the 13th today, or? Yep, there we are. Hopefully we get a little more response from here. Yeah. So here we can see this is all installed software that I have collected from Configuration Manager, and we can see that the different applications have different prices. So when new installations are made available through Configuration Manager, the gateway will update the information through the data sources, and we will get a dynamical viewing on the prices as well. So here we can see that this is our demo environment, but let's say Google Chrome costs a lot of money. So here we have Google Chrome, and we can see how much it costs. It costs about 10,800 kroner per installation. Pretty expensive, Google Chrome. And it gets multiplied by 3. So it's the price gets multiplied, and we get a full result of that as well. And we can see which installations, which computers has this installed as well. So we can get a lot of matching information from different sources and mashing it up and presenting them in a view that we would like. And another view we have is like manufacturers and operating systems. And we can see that, in our environment, we have like 3 laptops, and the rest is virtual machines. And if we click on the virtual machines, we can see that, yes, 7 of them are Windows Server 2012, and we have 2 that has the Windows 8 install as well. And we can see here we got information about the name of them, we got the information about the operating system, and the status of is okay from the configuration manager client. And the one thing that's really cool is that you don't see that often is client policy in configuration manager. How often are the clients actually connecting to the configuration manager site, and how many are connecting per day? So here we can see a view of the clients that how many clients who have connected through the time from about January to February, and we can see that was about 4 to 5 different up to 5 clients up to the 4th of February. Then it evolved up to 15 and 14. So we can either look at that yes, we got a lot of new clients in our environment, or somebody who has been on a long vacation and came back with their computers. So we can get information about how many client policies are made from clients and how many they are. And we can see how many of them were internet enabled and what kind of client version that they have installed as well. So we can also take a look at deployment summary for an installation. We can see, yeah, we have one installation for let's take something we can use. Clue, for example. We have their total number of 4 installations. We see that no one is success at the moment, and we have 2 in progress, and we have 2 that has failed. So I can actually, when I click on this, I can actually go and get information about which these 2 are. Like, all this information needs to be synchronized to the gateway server. So this is for usage when you're out on the run, when you have your devices as well and you need reporting. Most of us who are working with the configuration manager, we are refreshing the console and looking at deployment status as well. This is not for you guys then. This is more like, well, I started a deployment yesterday and I'm connecting in the morning, and I can get a dashboard view of actually the different deployments as well. So it's actually pretty cool. So this is you are using PowerBI to actually create these visualizations. But one thing you have is that you can actually use something called PowerMap. Anyone use that as well? Yeah, you have used PowerMap. I saw your Street Fighter session. There was some power mapping in that slide there. So what you can do, like I'm going to open up the workbook for the incident, and you can have something called PowerMap, and it's used for geographical data, and you can present that in a 3D. So it's actually really cool. It's mostly sexy stuff, but it's for the management, where I can see, oh, you're actually doing a good job. So what we can do now, hopefully I'm going to open up and show you. So if I click on Insert now, we can click on Launching PowerMap. That's actually integrated into the Excel of 2013. So I'm opening up, and then we can starting a tour where we can take the data sets that we want and put them into a geographical location and create visualization using a video. It's actually quite cool. So looks like our demo environment has some. So what I'm doing here, as you can see, I have this demo environment in Oslo, and I have added to the time here. I have added the created. Sorry if you can see here, the created date of the incidents are added to time. So when I can follow the different incidents and when they are created over time, and I've added a category is the incident request ID. So when I have added this together, I can actually get a video of this. Well, it doesn't look that impressive now, but when you add the different views to this as well, you can get a lot of cool features. So I did some preparations before this session, and let's take a look at it. I got some configuration manager data for successful Windows 7 deployments, and we're going to take a look at how that looks. So here I have extracted the successful Windows 7 deployments from a company, and I'm using the PowerMap 3D to actually look at the successful deployments at the different locations. So here you can see in Oslo, they got from yeah, from January to March 56, I think it was, in Stockholm. We are, yeah, keep on rising. And we're zooming into Bodø. So using this, I have the deployment. I have the deployment site for the computer. I have the created deployment time, and I also have the actual deployment there as well. So we can get information about the different sites to actually view this, and it's actually a quite cool feature. Like I said, this is more like for management and to present what you actually have done last year when it comes to deployment as well. And you can get different types of visualizations of this as well. And one thing I also done earlier is that we have used a lot of service requests in Service Manager to do automation. And here we have another video that shows the different service requests that has been entered into Service Manager, and you can actually see where they are starting to use that information as well. We can see that in Oslo, and they are starting to use it, and up in Bodø, and you can get the whole timeline over the air, and you can see the actual incidents that has been created as well. So it's quite cool actually to use PowerMap. It has the X factor in showing visualizations of the data, and it's cool to show the people up in upper management that don't basically understand what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. Here you can have a little show off as well. So there were some of the examples that we can show by using Power BI, and if you're gonna apply Power BI, if you have an enterprise agreement, that is a huge benefit on the price. If you have an E3 or E4 subscription, then you can get the Power BI for each user for about almost $10. If you don't have, you need to standalone. You have to have a standalone subscription. That's almost $18 as well. And the next version of Power BI that will be out, hopefully, for us in about a month, they have done something new with the actual designer, because there's a lot of people who say, well, we don't have Office 365, and we want to use Power BI, so to show our data out there, do we have to add a subscription for Office 365, have SharePoint Online, and also have a subscription for Power BI? So what's happening now is that they have a preview out for Power BI that's showing things in dashboards on an online site. So instead of having the synchronizing the data back, you have now a Power BI designer. So we don't need Excel anymore. You don't need to add the Power Query to the as an add-in. Now you get this application that can do everything for you, and it's free and it's available to download now to test. And they are continuing with adding REST-based API services and OData feeds. This is quite cool stuff, because then you can do analyzing of your data in quite a new way without having the whole package of Office 365. And I can see on the clock down we're running out of time, but I want to show you the tool as well. So if you're just closing up out here, we can just open. They are adding new features every month. That's why Power Query is not native in Excel, because Excel is used heavily around the world. They have a lot of calculations in the product. So when they're shipping out new updates to Excel, they're tested in 100 different ways before. But with add-ons, they are they're shipping new updates on the fly. So it's actually a lot of new cool stuff. This is the new designer. You can do all the same stuff that we added with the Power View and Power Query. You can see we had the reporting view here, and we have the query that's actually the same as Power Query that we had earlier. So what I can do now is that I can hopefully I can connect to my local SCUM database. Let me see, SQL to Operations Manager DB. And what I can do, I don't remember the statements actually. So I have a query here, notepad, thank you. So what I'm doing now, I'm taking all the alerts from my Operation Manager environment, hopefully. It's the same as the Power Query that we used earlier. And now it's actually loading the same data into the data model. But the designer gives us a lot of new opportunities when it comes to creating visualizations of our data. So hopefully this shouldn't take too long. And while we are at it, we can go to bi.com. Yeah, I'm gonna sign in. And the thing now is that this is only available in okay, we don't support that region yet. I've created an account over in the US to get around this to show you, but I think I'm logging on cached with my on-site. Try again. Sign in. Yeah, here we go. Changing the account. This is the new. This is a preview of the new Power BI dashboard that will be available in a couple of weeks. So it should get me some information back from the data model. This takes a long time. So instead of that, I have want to cancel this so I can show you. I created a workbook. Earlier, so I'm going to use that one. So in this public preview, you have the opportunity to either use OData feeds. They will release a data management gateway as well. And you can also use your designer, create your visualizations, and you can upload them to this new site as well. So when you click on Get Data, you have a lot of new connections that you can connect to. And what I'm going to use the Power BI designer file. Hopefully, I have remembered to create that one as well. Yeah, and I have the SCOM alerts here as well. Here. And what it's doing now, it's uploading my file to the sites where I can actually get a full view of my visualizations. This is new, brand new, and it will be available soon for us. Hopefully it. I was going to show you some of this stuff that we have here as well. Yeah, here's an example that I have created earlier. When I have what I have done here, connected to my Operation Manager data warehouse, and I created a workbook, and I have now shared this with the public preview. And this can be on dashboards and different monitor screens and everything. And when you get the API, then it will get dynamical data right away. So you get full information, not synchronized every once a day. So we get real-time information when you actually use the new public preview. It's pretty cool. And what they have done, they have changed the licensing. They've changed the licensing on the products as well. So you get Power BI in the new version for free. Of course, there are some limitations. You will probably go over to the professional edition after a couple of days, because you get if more data you have, well, you understand that you need to have the professional edition as well. All the data that you have will be storage on site. So when you're connecting to the different with the different mobile devices, it will actually get the information right away if you enable it with this new feature. So it's pretty cool. Well, that was it. Hope this gives you some trigger points on how you can use Power BI. As you can see, PowerBI isn't a tool actually that is for System Center only. It gives you a lot of opportunities when it comes to all the information that you have in your data center, when it comes to connecting to different sites as well. And what you can also do is that if you want to enable and use your regular Excel activities, you can just download it into the Excel sheets as well. Instead of only working with the visualizations, you can download the data and hand it over to the finance department that will do that scrambling on the Excel sheet as well. You're just sending out the source information so they dynamically can add the information. Hope you had a great NIC this year, and it was great to see that so many of you can join this session. So for those in Crayon, have a nice party, and for the rest of you, have a good trip home. Thank you.